Hi there, I hope all is well. Welcome to Pearl, a world where modern day princesses strive for class, sass, and strass. I'm your host, Victoria, and today's topic is going to be on finances, more specifically, the financially savvy girls' no-nos. I'm very excited to be talking about this because I have been really growing and learning a lot in my own financial journey, and I've noticed that I have helped a lot of my girlfriends in person with their finances as well. And so I just wanted to kind of extend that, if you will, knowledge, I guess, onto other girlfriends out there, aka you guys, to see how you could possibly better yourself or better your future and set yourself up for success when it comes to your money, okay? So let's just get right into it and start with the first no-no, which is overspending. I have noticed that there are a lot of girls out there, there are men too, but mainly girls who spend a lot and are very much in their consumer mindset. And I'm not here necessarily to judge if you're in that mindset, because that's kind of just what's being fed to us through social media, through online stuff, online content, and ads and commercials everywhere. But maybe taking a step back and recognizing that you are kind of just buying whatever these people are selling you is probably setting yourself up a little bit for failure, because you probably are not understanding what's coming in to your accounts and then what's going out. And so if you're an overspender, you're more likely to actually put yourself in debt. And there's that biblical principle that I wanted to also mention about this, which is the borrower is slave to the lender, and you do not want to be a slave to anybody, obviously. So maybe being a little more cognizant of your spending and how much is going out with your spending can really help you a lot. Okay. Then number 2, which kind of piggybacks off of this one, is following trends. A financially savvy girl is not following trends. I know it's extremely hard, and I feel like there is this thing in the girl world where we kind of want to be like everybody else, and so we're buying the products that everybody else is buying, and then we feel like we're validated and we're included, and then that just kind of cycles and keeps going on forever and ever and ever. And I know this because I was kind of taking a step back with finances, and I've been learning a lot about, markets and people's behavior when it comes to shopping and such. And I realized, I was like, wow, the same things that I was, wanting to get when I was like 5 years old because my 5-year-old friends or 5-year-old peers were getting is exactly what's still going on now. But the things that I ended up buying when I was 5 years old and like making my mom buy, if you will, don't help me today. And so I'm sure that the stuff that I'm following, the trends that I'm following today are going to go out of fashion in a couple years or so. And so that was somewhat a waste of money and therefore leads to overspending. These are things we don't necessarily need. It's very much things that we want. And so following trends is actually to your detriment. And I wish I could kind of shake everybody when it comes to this one, actually, because I've been realizing if you're following trends, you are actually losing. You might think that you're winning because now you're like everybody else and you look great and you look rich or something, I don't even know, or you look pretty or you think you look pretty because of this thing or whatever, but really you're losing because their marketing scheme, whatever that product is winning. They won. They told you to feel some sense of insecurity so that they could sell you the solution to that, aka their product, and then to make you feel better, but then at the end of the day, they're the one making money. Yeah, they're the ones making money and you're the one losing money. So really, following trends is making you lose in a sense. So kind of gaining back your power is going to really help you. And also I would recommend, like I was kind of doing, like taking a step back and recognizing, did I need any of the things that I've purchased, which were trends at some point? I mean, I don't really know. Like, I'm trying to think of a trend right now. Like, let's say, okay, actually, no, I was thinking Skims by Kim Kardashian, but I don't even want to literally mention her. But let's say the Stanley Cup. Actually, this is a good one. The Stanley Cup. So I actually have 2 cups, which are very similar to the Stanley Cup, but that was because they were gifted. I wasn't going to buy a Stanley Cup, but let's say the Stanley Cup. Okay, everybody needed to buy it. They were following the trend, but do we not recognize that just a couple years earlier, it was the Hydro Flask? Like, do you see how, like, the Hydro Flask won your money and their marketing team won, and then they were kind of able to reshape it. The market was able to reshape it to now be the new water bottle, which is the Stanley. And then you bought that and now you feel great, you feel validated, you feel like you're a part of the girl culture or whatever. But I'm sure in 3 or 4 years, there's going to be a new water bottle. So how many water bottles do we need and how much are we spending on these water bottles for them to just go out of style, if you will, or out of fashion in a couple years? So let's say your Stanley, I don't even know how much a Stanley is, but let's say it's $30, right? And the Hydro is probably like also $30. So that's $60 that you just lost following trends, which you don't need. And there's going to be another trend soon. So again, try a step back and see, do you really need this? And do you actually even really want it? Or is it just because the world and social media is making you feel this sense of insecurity to buy it? And then that's somehow going to validate something in your heart. I don't really know. So just questions for thought, food for thought. And then number 3 is not budgeting. You are not budgeting, which is very, very, very important. And let's say even if you don't necessarily want to budget because you don't know how, at least writing it all down, writing everything that comes in and everything that goes out. This is really tough. I'm not going to lie, like psychologically, because you're going to start seeing all the things that you have been spending money on. And, I don't know, it's kind of discouraging. And I'll give you an example. I had a girlfriend who I was helping with finances. She said, she wanted to kind of get a grip on things because we were going to go on this trip. So I was like, okay, great. So I can help you, whatever. So we sat down, I overlooked her finances. I was giving her advice and she had realized so she was in college and she was working this job in college, an on-campus job, which was, I think, pretty like small in terms of its pay. I think it was practically minimum wage. And yet she had made through all her work around $25,000 from this job. I think it was $25,000 or like $23,000 or something like that. It was unbelievable because of the amount of work she was working. And then she was also finding side gigs here and there and all of it. So we calculated from the time she started college, she had made like $25,000. But here we were with less than, I think it was like $2,000 to her name. All because of not budgeting, probably also because of following trends, and then of course also because of overspending, unfortunately. And again, I'm not here to shame and judge, but I am here to share this story so possibly you can learn and prevent that from happening to you, because that is such a shame. In fact, I think she was also in debt, but she was like taking out loans, I think, or something like that for her schooling. So all of that actually could have covered and paid for everything. So having a grip on your finances and understanding all the numbers coming in and all the numbers coming out. I don't care if it's literally a $20 gift, or if let's say your parent gives you $10, says go buy yourself a little meal or something and you get $4 back, whatever it is, if you get to keep those $4, that is $4 as an invoice, if that makes sense. And if you don't know invoices, just think of it as like, I was also going to say cash flow, but I guess that's also kind of hard. Just think of it as that is your money coming in. Okay. And then number 4 is not working. I think work is one of the most important things that can happen to somebody. I think it's just so good for you. There's actually a French saying that my grandfather used to tell my mom, and now she's passed it down to me, which is work is health. Apparently there's like a better, like in French, it has like a cuter little rhyme to it, but work is health. And I completely agree with that. Keeping yourself moving and going and having a reason to wake up in the morning is very healthy for you. It's probably going to help with your mental health, obviously your physical health, maybe even your emotional health, whatever. And so for a girl who wants to be financially savvy, working is really great because then you get to control your finances. You get to understand what's coming in, what's going out. If you're dependent on somebody else, and I'm not necessarily against you being dependent on others. However, I would say it's harder for you then to figure out your own personal finances if you're dependent on somebody else. I'll give you an example. If your dad just kind of says, oh, you can have my credit card, you can buy whatever you want. Okay, that's great. But at the end of the day, you don't have any of your own hard-earned cash. So when you want to go out there and buy something, you're dependent on your dad. And then what happens then if your dad can't afford something, or he says no, or some catastrophic thing happens, and now your, if you will, source of money, and I put that in quotes, source of money goes away, right? I don't know. It's just, for me, having your own little reserve, even if it's like $1,000, $2,000, is really vital. in making sure that you are, again, kind of protecting yourself and setting yourself up for success. So I would say it's not in a girl's best interest to not work. Now, I'm not necessarily of like the girl boss, like feminism, like CEO kind of thing when I'm saying this, but I'm saying this like, even if you get like a job down the street as a grocery clerk, or if you get a job, at a school or something that you're really passionate about, I just think it's so good to engage your brain as well. Keep it active. It's kind of like, I see it as like when you're going to work or when you're really engaging your brain in things, you're working your brain like a muscle, so it's good for you. But also, financially savvy girls are rarely 100% dependent on somebody else. But if they are, then they would follow the steps of budgeting, of not following trends, of not overspending to ensure they're okay. But I'm actually going to give another example. I actually know this couple, where the wife is completely and 100% financially dependent on the husband, and he gives her an allowance, okay? Like, I think it was like $500 a month she gets to spend on whatever she wants, and that's outside of groceries and all that. So there's still like a set amount for groceries and like needs and like definitive things that the house needs to get, but then for her, she gets $500. Okay, so if you will, though, that's kind of like your income. That's your work, quote unquote. I still think it would be good for a woman to engage in work, but still, if that is your case, if you're actually getting an allowance, that's perfect. That's your income. You know what's going into your account, if you will, quote unquote. Even if you don't have your own account, you can always have your own little box. That's actually how I started. When I was a child, I put every dollar in a little box, this cute little pink box. I'll never forget it. And I'm not saying this to like say hide money from your husband or whatever. No, but at least you have a little record. You have a little place where your finances can be organized and clean, and you know exactly what's going on. Okay, so I don't believe in being deceitful if that is your, arrangement with your husband or whatever, but I still think it's smart to at least understand what's going on. Okay, and if that's how your work kind of is, then that's how your work is. If that's, being a mom, or being a housewife, whatever it is. And I have no shame, and I applaud all housewives out there. But I think it's really important for you to, be working, I guess, and be getting some sort of income in. Okay, the next one, the fifth one, is actually one that I would say most girls don't even touch or know about or are too scared about, which is not investing. Investing is so important. I'm telling you this right now. I actually started investing the moment I turned 18. That's when I was able to open all my accounts, and that's when it started. And I am just so thrilled that I did. And if you want to kind of go a bit deeper in this, please let me know. I actually think I am going to give a whole financial overview of what I did to set myself up for success by the time I graduate. So if you want help with that, I can definitely maybe do a video to show all the things I have in place, because I have like this whole binder that I use for tracking my finances. Again, like I said, I have all my accounts. I can maybe show how I open them, what the strategy was with that. So yeah, but not investing, I would say, is limiting yourself in some way. At the end of the day, cash is king. So you always do want to have, cash over anything else. Like, you don't want to put all of your money in investments, but having a good amount of it and really putting money into investing is important. So if you don't know about investing, I would highly recommend that you start looking into that. It's actually quite simple. I think the hardest part about it is just starting. So yeah, the financially savvy girl's no is not investing. You do not want to invest. Okay. And then the sixth one is not continuously learning or constantly working towards bettering your education with finances. I absolutely love reading financial books and finance savvy books, or economics books, or market books, like whatever it is. I really love all that kind of stuff, and it has enriched me so much, and it's actually gained and inspired a sense of empowerment in me to figure out that I am not necessarily at a disadvantage with finances and with investing and all that, because I have constantly been learning, and I know, if you will, the world of investing and finances like those top people in investing. Like, I now don't feel like I'm less than, let's say, I don't know, Mark Cuban or something, because now I kind of know what he knows, if that makes sense. So constantly learning is very, very important. And also, that is just what a classy girl does. All classy girls are constantly learning and bettering themselves and educating themselves. So maybe, honestly, maybe like investing right now is too big of a topic, and that's really, intimidating, but maybe instead you could just be learning how to budget. Let's say you have no idea how to budget and all these things are like completely foreign to you. Well, this is the perfect opportunity to start learning. How do I not overspend? How do I not follow trends? How do I budget? How do I find work or simple work or, worthwhile, meaningful work? Things like that. How do I start investing? All that kind of stuff I think is completely doable if you just have the passion and, if you will, the rigor to keep learning. Okay, then the last one, which is one I absolutely love, this is like my favorite part about personal finances, is being strategic. So a savvy girl's no is not being strategic. You want to be strategic with your money. What is the purpose of your money? Okay, but before we even get there, I would highly recommend you ask yourself, what is money? How do you define money? How do you see and what do you think of when you think of money? Okay, everybody has a different definition, but I think starting there can kind of start to open your eyes to how your finances are looking right now. For example, I know many girls think money is just something to be spent on. And because of that, they are just blowing their money on all these like random things that are not really benefiting them or adding value to their life, but they can't stop spending it because they think that that's the purpose of money. And so maybe through learning, through, working, whatever, you can maybe work through that and, start being strategic on your money. So then if let's say you're able to work through that and you no longer look at money as just something to be spent on or something that is given to you and you need to like use it to get things and, it's a materialistic thing, like there's a perspective of materialism there. Where was I going with that? If you're like that, then maybe through learning, you can change your perspective on money being, money is actually a tool, or money is a helper, if that makes sense, or it is something that allows me to achieve my goals and my dreams rather than just something to be blown on junk from Target. Okay. So those are my, if you will, overarching, ideas for you to kind of think on and possibly start implementing if you want to be financially savvy. I think every girl should be in some way financially savvy. It's going to help you so much. You're going to be living a much more stress-free life if you really have a grasp on everything that's going on when it comes to your finances. Maybe your relationship with your husband or your boyfriend is going to better, or maybe even the relationship with yourself, and figure out maybe why you're spending so much on X, Y, and Z. So if you have any questions or if you want a part 2 or whatever, please let me know. But thank you so much for listening all the way through. If you did, it really means a lot. I really appreciate it. You honestly have no idea. But anywho, I hope you are having a blessed day. I'm praying for you. God bless. Bye.